Right, here we are again at Reading's premier speed testing, legal speed testing stretch of road on the outskirts. Fairly little used as it's not one of the main routes, and it's nice and straight and it's fairly long. Today, because I'm going to do some modifications and a bit of tuning, I'm just going to get a baseline for exactly how slow this bike is. So I've got a drag racer app, which you probably can't see on there, and it measures up to 60 miles an hour, and it will also give you like standing quarters and standing eighth of a mile times, that kind of thing. So what we're going to do is do a quick run down there, see if it even gets to 60, and then I'm going to go home and install the Malossi Forcemaster 2 Piggyback ECU thingamabob and press some buttons and see if I can get it running okay. And then we'll try it again and see if it makes any improvements. So yeah, let's give it a go. Right, well, as you can see, once again, taking things apart, mostly because I just can't leave stuff alone. The bike's actually been working really well. Just been for a ride, just go and see a friend, so a couple more points on that one. So I've done best part of about 600 miles now on this engine, which is obviously engine number 3. And whilst the exhaust still needs painting and things like that, it's not leaking anything, and it's not using any coolant or oil or anything like that, so you never know. Hopefully this is now going to be reliable for at least a while. So the sensible thing to do would be to leave it alone and not change anything. However, because don't eat the box. Because I changed the exhaust for that straight through one, I don't think it's necessarily got all of the power it should do. So I don't think there's quite enough back pressure for the current fueling map. So I did a bit of investigation and discovered that you can actually get the Malossi Forcemaster 2, which is like a power commander, basically a piggyback ECU, which it's got a preset map for if you've got standard engine but with Malossi high flow exhaust. So I'm hoping this cheap knockoff high flow exhaust might be similar. So I'm going to give this a go. I'm not really an expert at this. I fitted one power commander to a bike once, but that's about it. But it seems fairly straightforward. It's a piggyback ECU, so it just sort of picks up the sensors and the components that the ECU normally communicates with, and then sort of changes the signal and tells the engine to do something else. So changing the fuel. So this one, for example, picks up the coil and then plugs into the coil. This one is for the injector, picks up the injector on there and then plugs into the injector here, or vice versa. I think probably that way around actually. And then this one here goes into the ECU diagnostics cable, which is sort of back here somewhere, here, this one. So it can like complete that circuit, and this one I'm hoping is just a ground. It feels like it's just a ground or an earth wire. In the instructions, obviously this is isn't for this bike, it's for Aprilia RS4 125. So in everything I've seen, they actually attach this lead to the throttle body, but I think that's just because that's where a convenient earth point is on that bike. So I'm just going to connect it to somewhere like, I don't know, maybe the back of the alternator. Sorry, not the alternator, the back of the starter motor, or something like that. So yeah, I'm going to start connecting some stuff up, and we will see where we get to. I also need to figure out a place for this to live. I'm hoping it can hide somewhere in here, and the seat will still close and won't get in the way of the air intake or what have you, but that is a problem to figure out in a bit. Cool, right. Back in a minute. Well, I think everything's plugged in. Got the fuel injector is piggybacked, the coil is piggybacked, the diagnostics is piggybacked. The wires are a bit messy, but I will sort that out later. So just put the tank roughly back into position. Now, some setup is required. We first have to do the throttle position sensor, which is to rotate the low trimmer to the red arrow position, which I have done. This is the low trimmer here. I've rotated a pointy bit of it to the red arrow. And that's right. Then turn the ignition key to on. Wait for all 3 LEDs to illuminate and then turn off. Turn the ignition key to the off position. And rotate the low trimmer to the 0 position. Then rotate the high trimmer to the red arrow position. And turn the throttle to the fully open position, which like so. And then turn the ignition to the on position. Wait for all 3 LEDs to light up and go off. Let's see if we can keep it so we can see everything. So this should go. Yep. Turn the ignition key to the off position. Rotate the high trimmer to the 0 position. And then this arrow here is pointing at map 0, and according to the book, map 0 is for original cylinder, original camshaft, Malossi exhaust system with DB killer. So it's not exactly what we've got, but could be a good starter for 10. The idea being that you can then also trim each of these maps, so low RPM, medium RPM and high RPM. You can either add or subtract 20% more or less fuel. So I think we just need to give it a go first. So I'm going to try and find somewhere to cable tie this to, or tuck it in, or somewhere where it won't get too mucky. I know it's a pretty well sealed unit, but we shall see. But yeah, exciting. I guess the first thing to do before putting the tangle back together is see if it starts and what effect it has on anything. Good start. No check engine lights. Sounds good. Maybe. As easy as that.